Kelly was kind enough. She's going to go ahead and take notes. So Kelly, you have that group 4 form open. You're really the only one that needs to keep that open.
Okay.
They probably should have used a Google Doc so we could all see the notes as you're writing them. But in this case, you can go ahead and take notes, and then we'll try to get those 5 big ideas. And then, all right. So I know last time Kelly kind of had to work around and called into our meeting. Otherwise, Trent and Paula, it's good to see you. Courtney, I know you weren't able to make it either. So it's nice to have group 4 all together.
We had a sick baby in the hospital, so.
Yeah, no, right. I know.
Oh my.
So everybody should have had our last, I shared the Google Doc with everybody so you could see the conversation that we had. We really could use that, Kelly, too, if you want to take notes on that. We can copy and paste. That way you're not the only one staring at what we said. But I guess we're just sort of kind of rehashing some of that we talked about. So since Trent and Paula and Courtney, you guys didn't get to weigh in on that, what were your thoughts about the mission statement?
Well, I think it's a little vague and long.
Yeah.
It should be more inspiring to the children, especially. I think it should be on the walls all over each school. This is what we want to do for you. We want to bring out your full potential. And we know you have it, and we're going to help you develop it.
Okay.
I did have a question about the note about one district, one direction. Is that, since that was in quotes, is that actually somewhere within the district, or was that just an idea as part of the mission statement?
That's actually a tagline that we've been using for the past 3 or 4 years,
Okay.
as far as a staff is concerned, because we have 7 different buildings. It was sort of one of those things that 4 or 5 years ago, really, we focused on the fact of we're trying to become more consistent with what we're doing. So instead of being 7 little fiefdoms, we're trying to come together to provide a consistent educational experience, regardless of where you're attending school in our district. So,
Okay. No, I liked it. I just didn't know where it came from. So that's
Sure.
helpful. Thank you.
When we do like the one district, one direction, I like how like short that is, that everybody kind of knows that one, where like this one, nobody's going to actually like, it's not going to be as easy to like recite and be able to know, similar to the one that's like one direction, one district, one direction. So it'd be nice to have something quick and easy like that, that would encompass obviously a big idea too.
Yeah,
Not
great.
that I have one to like share, but
no. And that's a lot of what we talked about last time too, right?
Yeah.
Everybody? I mean, we were saying that that's exactly what it is, with the fact that you want it memorable, you want to be able to say it, you want to be able to live it and believe it. And you know, now when you ask about a mission statement, you can go look it up, but
Nobody knows it.
yeah, not everybody's sort of pulling the same side there. So we ended our conversation last week just talking about some of the things that we do as a district, and obviously the idea of community came up. I think you guys all heard a lot of the other groups came up with community, but just being where we've been for the last year, school and community have become so intertwined when it comes to teaching our kids and taking care of one another. So that's something that we talked about.
Definitely, yeah. The community has to come together. It takes a village is not just a saying. It really does. Everybody's got to come together, especially now.
I think we need, in my opinion, we need to continue to have something along the lines of the diversity and equity for, the entire community. I know a lot of times we get called Grays Lake District 46, but we are really much bigger than that. We cover a lot more ground than just in Grays Lake.
Yeah.
So somewhere along those lines, having something like that and diversity, equity, and the community itself.
Yeah. That's a good point.
If we, and Jim, along that, just to pick your brain, if we said, are you thinking like something specific, like with the word diversity, or would saying like every child, every family, would that encompass the type of diversity you were thinking of?
Yeah, it doesn't have to necessarily say diversity and equity, as long as we know that it's obvious that we're including everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that the current mission statement, because it has the word all in it, do you think that covers it, or were you looking for something more specific?
I think the last time we did that came out to be in a catch-all, lack of a better term. When we did it the last time,
Okay.
I think just they did a lot of wordsmithing, and I think that was the best they could come up with to say everybody.
I like the idea of including something like saying, and because like you said, all encompasses everything, but instead of being specific about like diversity and equity and those types of things, instead maybe point out the different groups that are in on it, like community, families, students, and teachers, like maybe split it up that way as opposed to take that from the all.
Okay. Yeah. Community, students, teachers.
Well, we talked a little bit about maybe extending the one district, one direction.
Yeah.
Saying something to the effect of like one community, the fact that we're a bunch of individuals making up one community. Sorry, that was my kids. My 4-year-old doesn't understand that Dad's in a meeting.
I don't need to send an ambulance over there, do I?
So I like the idea of the community piece for sure. But I guess one of the things I've been thinking a lot about is I do think we need to make sure that it is very student focused, right? So at the end of the day, we're doing this for the students. We as a community come together, but somehow bringing in that, more student focused and maybe focused on individual needs, right? To get to this idea of equity and diversity is an important piece, right? That because you'll fail if you try to make everyone happy, right? If your community and the parents and the teachers and the adults and everyone, it's all got to be for the greater good of the kid. I think that's sometimes a nice driving kind of focus.
One community bringing out unlimited potential, developing but it's going to get too.
Yeah, I don't think we need to think about how to actually phrase anything, right? We just what are these big concepts, these big ideas, and so I guess right now what I've heard as we've talked is like, this idea of full potential. I really like how you said that, Paul. Bring it out, develop it. We like the tagline "One District, One Direction" because it's short and memorable, but we'd like to expand on it. Community is kind of a paramount importance. It's intertwined with our school. It really does take a village, and it's that community is a lot of people. Our communities, parents, it's teachers, it's the kids, and that we feel strongly about equity and diversity. So I'm kind of starting to bucket into some big concepts, but can either elaborate or go to other directions too.
Well, one question they ask on that planning form that they put together was, why do we exist as an organization? So maybe if we talk about that a little bit, because I think, Kelly, you're right. Like, I mean, I've been in this district 20 years in education, a little bit longer than that. And I'm, why do we exist? And then you're coupled with trying to make it short and sweet. Well, what we do is not short and sweet, right? Like, there's so many facets that school does for kids that's why I think inevitably you get to these long-winded, very wordy statements, because you're trying to incorporate everything.
Yeah.
I actually just saw the libraries for the first time, and I was like, doggone it, that's a really good one.
It is really good, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, man,
Yeah.
But why do we exist as an organization? Is it to just teach kids in an elementary curriculum? Is it to, teach kids how to think for themselves so that they can be critical learners in a future that we can't even fathom? Is it to, interact and compete on a global level? I would say yes to all of those things.
Yeah.
So how do you encompass that in, in a catchy way? I don't know.
Well, I think it gets back to.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, it gets back to the idea of being very student focused, right? Every single thing you said was about the student, preparing them, empowering them, making them better, right? 100% student focused.
Yeah. But basically, that's what it comes down to. The community's focus is on teaching these children to be, develop each of them their own unique gift, so they can start down their own unique path, and bring out the best in them. And we also have to include teaching them to be good citizens.
Sure.
Um,
While having an additive effect to those around them, right? Like,
Right.
everybody brings different strengths into this equation. So how do we
teaching them how to have compassion, and yeah.
Yeah, essentially, you're kind of preparing them to, I don't know, this may be more vision statement than mission, but, preparing them to change the world in a meaningful way.
There you
And
go.
that could be, for some students, they're going to be the next Bill Gates. For some, they'll be the next president. For some, they're gonna be the next farmer who's gonna feed all of us, in the next 20 years. But it gets to Paula's idea that we're basically meeting the students where they are, and they're gonna change it in ways, I think, Vince, you even said it in ways that we don't even know.
Can you say, what was that kind of tagline you said again in the beginning?
So
I'm like, what was it? It was good.
like preparing students to change the world in a meaningful way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Maybe like in their own meaningful way.
Yeah.
Or like a productive citizen in a meaningful way, or
Yeah.
All right, that's good, Trent. I think that might have got us on the board.
Yeah.
It might get us in the game here when we start putting all these together. I like
Yeah.
that.
so I feel like if we have like two sections, like who we want this to be about. So we want it to be about students. Who we want, like, do we need to mention that, like, the community and the staff, like the group
Yes.
that's helping them, and what we want them to do. So if it's kind of like a threefold thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, because I don't want to leave like the teachers and the staff out of all this. I mean, I agree that the focus should be on the students, but I mean, if we're not providing the teachers, the right tools or the right environment, creating that positive environment for the teachers, then it's just not going to trickle down to the students. So I don't know how we do that, but that's why I like that idea of community, where thinking of community as not just kind of the Grays Lake community in which we live, but each, there's community of students, community of staff, community of teachers, and all of us are under kind of a larger umbrella of community, I guess. I don't know how we make that work, but I think that's important to bring out.
Well, maybe mission, what are we making? Maybe like that becomes more of one of those later levels where we make those goals or something like that. I don't know. I mean, I think community encompasses all those, but as I was hearing you talk about community, I was also thinking about preparing kids to be part of that community, right? Like that's the end goal that you were talking about there as well.
And that community can include, or preparation for that community is, getting back to Jim's point, somehow, diversity and equity within that community. I don't know.
I mean, the community encompasses everyone who is responsible for that child, the parents, the teachers, bringing this child's potential to its fullest.
Mm-hmm.
And all of us have that responsibility. I don't have children in the district anymore, but I am a part of this community and I feel a responsibility in nurturing every single child in the school system. I think it's a joint effort for each child. All of us need to be together, not just putting the burden on the teachers. We all need to nurture these children and help them realize their full potential.
And I think when you say community, you automatically think of, like, when I hear the word community, I do think of like outside, like the stores and the people that are there. I don't immediately think of like the school, like I do, but when I hear community, I don't think of the school as a community. But if it was something that we said like a bunch of different communities together do this, or I don't know. I'm kind of rambling, but
yeah,
Well,
would everyone think that way? That the whole community includes the teachers and the school community.
Mm-hmm.
So Vince, not to put you on the spot, but what do you do every day? Can you put that into words for us? I mean, that may help to some extent.
No, Trent, let me see. Not on the spot at all. What do I do every day?
I mean, not the logistics, but like when you wake up in the morning, like what gets you fired up about going to work? I mean, are there some words where you're like, okay, today I'm going to.
I think lately it's leading a group through unprecedented times in a way where we've completely thrown out all dynamics of what we knew about teaching, right? Like we're completely in unexplored territory, and my job often entails me trying to think ahead. So I'm already contemplating what aspects of this have we gotten so good at that we can keep to even do better than what we've done in before, right? Like I've seen some of the neatest things ever in this situation where, just a couple days ago, a teacher's internet went out and I got a frantic text to jump in her class. And there's already a fourth grade student who had started presenting and took over, and it was an EL student. And I was like, afterwards I kind of said, can you hang back a second? I go, I'm so proud of you. Like the teacher, you knew the teacher doesn't normally leave. And so you jumped in and took charge, and like never would have had that opportunity, right? There's no reason a teacher would have left a classroom, and he got to show, and he's 10 years old. And it was so quick and so flawless that you just like, those are the things that I think are going to make lasting impressions on some of these kiddos. Like just being able to take that leadership role and do that and be acknowledged for it, and have it reinforced that, you know, the decisions that he made were great decisions at that time. And there was a lot of people, adults who, and classmates who were proud of him for doing that. So that kind of transcends the what that we're teaching, right? Like seeing
Yeah.
kids. And I mean, I sit through long meetings, and I don't know if you guys do the same, but I get stir crazy, right? And yet I see these kids who are, I mean, talk about perseverance. They show so much perseverance in this type of a setting. And there's some kids that aren't, but there's a lot of kids that are doing, that are really rising to the challenge. I think a lot of my communication talks about the resilience and the adaptability of our kids, and we're getting to see that firsthand. And I think that's going to, it gives us a newfound respect for little human beings, right?
Yeah.
They're just, it's amazing. So seeing kids rise to this challenge, I think, is what gets me excited about my job.
Vince, as I hear you say that, and I also heard Courtney's comments, if I can just,
Sure.
just kind of paraphrase it and catch a couple of things. So I heard the conversation about community and thinking about it as a school community, and then possibly even extending into the community at large. And then I hear what you just shared. In my mind, I'm thinking, well, then are you looking to build or grow a community of leaders? As a possibility. And it's just, it's those little sound bites, little phraseologies that maybe that does or doesn't resonate with what you're really looking for District 46. But maybe it does, or maybe it's something that can then be worked with to then develop how best you might be able to capture a similar description of what it is that you're looking for. Because, as you described that fourth grade student, he rose to the, occasion, and, there's leadership there. Well, then we could question and pick it apart to say, well, is everybody that way? No, but yet at the same time, is that why we exist? To grow a community of what? Okay. And again, so it's asking those kinds of questions and trying to then, determine what best can describe, what we're actually here for as a district. So it's my 2 cents.
So
Yeah, no, and Vince, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I thought you did a great job, though. I mean, but getting back to, kind of the words to use, like thinking ahead, proud, impressions, leadership, adaptable, challenge. I mean, all those are really good concepts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When you asked Vince that question, now I'm a kindergarten teacher, so I automatically.
Okay, so we should ask you then as well, right?
Yeah, no, but I always think foundations. Like in kindergarten, I feel like I'm always giving like the foundational skills. I'm teaching them their letters, but in a reality, what Vince was saying happened in fourth grade too. That's giving them foundational skills too to become a leader. So if it was going back to what we're providing these students, we're providing these students all of these necessary foundational skills to become productive citizens. Or I keep forgetting your tagline you came up with, Trent. It was just so good though. But no matter what grade it is, whether it's kindergarten, you always think foundations. But like I said, in fourth and eighth grade, you're still giving them those foundational skills for when they're productive citizens as an adult.
So a lot of it is trying to get them to reach their full potential, no matter what grade level they're in, right?
Oh yeah, hone and use their natural skills, teaching them life skills that far more important than, adding fractions, teaching them how to persevere through difficult times, teaching them how to, these critical thinking skills, things like that, where you're trying to build something much greater than a third grade curriculum or a fourth grade curriculum. In this particular environment that we're in has really given kids the opportunity to showcase some of those skills.
and that will in turn enable them to think through how to add two fractions together and what have you. And it gives them that a better skill set just all around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, got another friend joining us.
Hmm.
All right. So I know that we have about 10 minutes left. Kelly, how are you feeling about those 5 big ideas?
Yeah, so the ask is to do 5 and have them really short, 10 words, right? So as you guys have been talking, I've tried to come up with these 5. So let me read them,
Okay.
see if they kind of capture some of the key things. So the first one, community is paramount. Leverage the different strengths and diversity of opinion. Second one is student-focused approach is key. It's why we exist.
Mhm.
Third one is prepare students to change/contribute to the world in their own meaningful way. And foundational skills to reach full potential at each stage. And then focus on equity and diversity equals success for all students.
Right.
Kelly, could you share that document with?
Yeah, I can't just view. Yeah.
Yeah, so we can see what you wrote.
Yeah, good idea. Let's see. I'm not a Google Meet Pro. Zoom and Teams and everything else.
You can go down to present.
Let's see.
Well, better you do it than me.
All right. So I just put in Word right now, so it's just kind of listed here. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, you cleaned it up nicely too. Way to go.
No.
Yeah, great work.
I mean, there was a lot of other really good gems, but I was trying to be kind of
Good thing you volunteered to be the secretary.
Is there anything that people felt strongly that we could maybe, because some of them aren't quite 10, we could sneak a couple words in here and there?
I'm gonna pen this real quick. Let me see.
Reach, you included full potential, yeah.
I really like the foundational skills. I hear time and time again that if you don't set the foundation in K through 8, good luck in anything in high school, right? It's so important. So I really like that one.
Yeah.
We need critical thinking skills for sure. Let's see. Confidence, instill confidence in them.
Did we want to include anything about how we were talking about what we want as the outcome, which is like, I don't know.
Mm.
Did I?
And what about like respecting others, respectful people?
Yeah. Try to include it in one of the 5.
I think maybe that might be come up with the equity and diversity.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
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 There.
Like honoring differences, but
Yeah, that's going to include it. I think that's all I had written down.
Maybe that's not too wordy. I think this is a pretty good, at least, starting point, right? Well, obviously, you're going to talk on these into the larger group and expand on them likely.
Yeah.
definitely. That was nice work summing up all of our word soup. That was
Yeah.
That's good
Absolutely.
stuff.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna go drop those into the document then. Okay.
Perfect.
I think I can just do this hopefully.
And the document wasn't, Vince, did you say it was not a Google Doc so we can't all see it? Or is
Yeah,
it?
there's two documents that we're going to want to drop it in. First is going to be that group for strategic 2 planning. It's a form, and there's basically your notes, and then your 5 or 10 short or 10 words or less big thoughts.
Oh, yeah. I guess I didn't. I guess the discussion notes, though, isn't that kind of more what we did last time? Is this like the same document that she used last time?
No, this is a different one. I
Oh, it
think
is.
this is
Okay.
their attempt to use it. They should have probably used the Google Doc for this, but they used the Google. So we sent them. So just copy and paste it twice. It'll be fine.
Okay, for both the discussion and the 5 short.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because I think those were our notes, and then we just that way, depending on where they look, and then there's a No, I don't want to be signed in as that. Let me see. What do you do?
All right. So and then I can just submit that. It looks like, yeah. I'll do that.
And then there's one more place that they want you to put it, which is
Oh, in the master spreadsheet.
yep, under number 4, master mission suggestion sheet.
Gotcha. Okay.
Oh, and that's a Google.
Oh, what is that going down there? No, hold on a second though. You want to go down to the tabs on the bottom.
Oh, right. Oh, thank you. Because I was like, somebody else is filling this in. What is happening? Okay.
This is like an extra class in Google Forms and Meets.
I know. I should have my kids here helping me. They're so much more savvy with Google than I am.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's crazy to see what they can do, even in
It
kindergarten.
really is.
And
I just,
so-
not a lot
Yeah.
of businesses, don't use Google, but it's very user friendly. It seems like.
I've never used it before.
Just got to get used
I'm
to
sure my 4th graders would be happy to come give you a tutorial.
Right?
My grandchildren, yeah.
Oh, no, I'm a 4th grade teacher. So I would,
Okay.
my 4th graders, I'm sure they're pretty savvy.
I know how to do shorthand.
Oh,
in cursive, probably.
A lot of people don't know that nowadays.
lost arts, right?
It is.
Yes.
It is.
All right. Did anybody remember? I think I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording because I think we're done with the discussion.
Actually, real quick, I don't have to hit this share button or anything. Like once it's
Yeah.
in there, it's
Yep.
captured. Okay.
Yeah. Once you're in, you're good to go.
Okay. All right. Good. And then we go back to the main group, right?
Yeah. I think before we take